World War III has started. Your phone loses signal, the news stops updating, your bank card stops working. Your family keeps calling, and outside your window, you can already see people panicking. But the safest person in the room is not the strongest one. It's not the richest one. It's not the one yelling, "I knew this would happen." It's the one who knows exactly what to do in the first 10 minutes. Because in World War III, your first enemy may not be a missile. It may be panic. And not just panic of losing power or money. The real panic is about dying. Hey, I'm Tuna, and today we are talking about how to survive World War III. Not as a fantasy or a movie, as a real survival situation. Modern war does not always begin with tanks outside your house. Sometimes it begins with silence. The screen goes black. The power cuts out. The roads fill up. The stores go empty, and millions of people suddenly realize they never had a plan. But you do, because from this moment on, survival comes down to 5 things. Control the first 10 minutes, survive the first 72 hours, avoid fatal mistakes, and face the part nobody wants to imagine. The moment war stops being something outside your window and starts pulling you directly into it. But before we survive it, we need to understand why it could happen. Not because one country gets angry, that is too simple. A world war begins when too many fires connect. A regional war spreads. A nuclear state miscalculates. A cyber attack hits the wrong target. A superpower answers too loudly, or a border incident becomes a national humiliation. One missile, one mistake. One leader trying to look strong, and suddenly the whole world is choosing sides. That is how history burns. Not all at once, one spark at a time. And if that spark ever reaches your city, the next few minutes matter. Step 1. Control the first 10 minutes. The first 10 minutes of World War III are not about bravery, they are about control. Because the first wave of war may not be fire, it may be confusion. People run to windows, jump into cars, call everyone at once, share fake messages, and move before they understand the danger. This is how panic becomes the second disaster. So your first move is simple. Get indoors, lock the doors, move away from windows, charge every device, and fill every clean container with water. Then gather the essentials into one place. Passport, ID, cash, medication, first aid, important documents. One place, not scattered, not probably in that drawer. One place. Then send one clear message to your family. I'm safe, stay indoors. Follow the plan, I will update you when I know more. In a crisis, clear information is vital. Your first mission is to become the calmest person in the room. Because when you stay calm, people around you breathe differently. They listen differently and move differently. This is why one calm person can stop 5 people from making a decision they cannot undo. But the first 10 minutes only stop the bleeding. The real test begins when the system stops answering. Step 2. Survive 72 hours without the system. After the first shock, the world gets smaller. Shops close, ATMs stop working, gas stations run dry, hospitals overload, roads get blocked, the internet becomes unreliable. Normal life becomes something you remember, not something you can access. So your mission is simple. Survive 3 days without the system. Water comes first. Person can survive weeks without food, but only a few days without water. Food comes second. Not luxury, calories, canned food, rice, pasta, anything that won't expire quickly. Medicine comes third. If someone in your family needs daily medication, that becomes a priority immediately. Then communication. Write important numbers on paper, because a dead phone with all your contacts inside is just a useless mirror. Choose one meeting point near home and one backup point outside the city. Listen to this carefully. Do not advertise your supplies. Do not post your location. Do not show your food, cash, generator, or equipment online. In peace, attention feels good. In war, attention can make you a target. Once the street turns into a war zone, your supplies are no longer the only thing keeping you alive. Your decisions are. Step 3. When war reaches your street. Then comes the moment war stops being something online and becomes something outside your window. This is important. If missiles, explosions, or airstrikes are happening, Move away from the windows immediately. Glass becomes shrapnel. Go low, go central, basement if possible. And after the first explosion, do not run outside. There may be another one. Many people survive the first blast, then get hurt because they rush toward danger after it. Avoid locations like military bases, government buildings, police stations, bridges, airports, communication towers, large crowds. These places can become dangerous fast. And never film military positions. This is important. Never share checkpoint locations online. You may think you are documenting history, but you could be putting people in danger. You just have to stay alive long enough to make the next decision. Step 4. Survive the silent war. Modern war does not always announce itself with fire and bombs. Sometimes it arrives quietly. A cyber attack can make a city feel like it's collapsing before a single missile lands. And if the power grid fully collapses, watch my full guide on how to survive a global blackout. Silent war does not stop with technology. Sometimes the threat is biological. Viruses, contaminated water, no explosions, sirens, or a fireball in the sky. Just hospitals filling up, schools closing, officials warning people to avoid contact, and the air around people suddenly feels unsafe. This one sounds familiar, doesn't it? When the threat is invisible, panic gets louder. You become quieter, cleaner, more disciplined. This is how you survive the silent war. But there is one kind of war you cannot hide from. The kind that sends your name to a list. Step 5. When war chooses you. Now we reach the part nobody wants to imagine. What happens if men are drafted? And in this century, depending on the country, women could be called too. And suddenly, survival is not about avoiding war. It's about being pulled directly into it. Imagine this scene. Frozen border, smoke crawling over the ground. Thousands of soldiers lined across the horizon. Jets screaming overhead. Missiles cutting through the sky. Ground shaking. Again and again. And somewhere in that chaos, there is a person who was sitting at home 2 months ago watching videos just like this. Now they are wearing a uniform, cold, tired, and realizing war is not a game, war is brutal. If you are drafted in the army, your first survival rule is simple. Do not act like a hero. This is not the place for ego. Listen during training. Learn first aid seriously. Learn your chain of command and how to follow instructions under pressure. Protect your feet. Stay hydrated. Eat when you can. Stay close to people who are calm, disciplined, and experienced. Avoid reckless and loud people. Basically anyone who treats war like a game. In a war zone, the most dangerous person near you might not always be the enemy. It may be the panicked person beside you making one terrible decision. When bullets are flying, missiles are landing, your mind will try to do 2 things: freeze or run. This is why training, discipline, and calm people matter. Your goal is not to look fearless. Your goal is to survive, to protect others when possible, and to come home alive. Because don't forget, borders change, graves don't. In World War III, every choice has a weight, and the heaviest choice is usually the one you delayed. Then there is one word that changes everything: nuclear. When official alerts mention nuclear danger, the time for curiosity is over. And for the full step-by-step guide, watch my video, How to Survive a Nuclear Attack. Because if that moment ever happens, you do not want to be learning the rules after the flash. The hardest part of World War III may not be physical, it may be psychological. The fear of losing your home, being drafted, or waking up tomorrow in a world you no longer recognize. But the truth most people forget, for some people, war is not a future scenario. It has already been happening. For the children in Gaza, who wake up to explosions instead of school bells. For the families in Ukraine who have learned the sound of drones in the sky. For people living under the shadow of Iran and Israel's conflict. Never forget, the only difference between you sleeping in your comfortable bed and a 5-year-old kid waking up to bombs is just your geographical luck. That's it. Not because they deserve it less, not because their lives matter less, only because they were born under a different sky. So if war ever reaches you, remember this: do what's right. Do not become cruel just because the world did. Do not lose your humanity because the people in power lost theirs. Help who you can. Protect the innocent. Do not celebrate death. Do not spread lies. Do not turn suffering into entertainment. And do not hate people because of the actions of their governments. Because when war begins, the easiest thing to lose is not your home, it's your soul. And yes, the fear of death is real. The body is temporary. Death is inevitable. One day, everybody ends, but the soul moves on. So do not let the fear of death turn you into something you cannot recognize. Your job is not to control everything. Your job is to stay clear enough to protect what can still be protected. If World War III ever happens, the world may change faster than your mind can accept. The sky may sound different. The streets may feel different. The people around you become different. But your mission stays simple. Protect your body, mind, and family. Prepare before panic. Move only with purpose. Trust verified information. And never let fear make the decision for you. Because in war, survival does not belong to the loudest person. It does not belong to the person pretending they are the fearless one. It belongs to the person who can stay calm. And if the world ever goes to war, do not forget,